My name is Michael McCurry, and I'm going to be going over Project 3, Occurrence of Max Value. So over the course of this video, I'm going to be talking about the design, the analysis, the testing, and things of that nature. I'm going to be going over the code, I'm going to be testing the code, and I'm going to be going over the prompt and seeing what we have to do for this project. All right, so let's go to the prompt for this code. So my prompt for this is write a program that reads integers, finds the largest of them, counts its occurrence, and assumes that the input ends with the number 0. So what this is asking is that it wants me to write a program that checks to find the largest number out of a set of numbers that the user inputs. Then it wants the program to check how many times that number appeared in that set of numbers that the user input. So now we're going to go on to the code portion of this, and we're going to talk about it, see what it does, go over the brief thing, go over most of it, and go on from there. Okay, so this is the code. So just a brief overview as we go through this, and then we're going to take a deeper analysis and go dive deeper into this. So import Java util scanner basic. That's just your scanner. And then we have our public class. Then we have our public method. That's our main method. Then your basics. You ask the user for a prompts user for something. This is initializing all the variables that we're going to need. Then the while loop, which is the meat and potatoes of this. This is what runs. This is what makes this happen. All kinds of stuff like that. This is what checks both of the max value and the occurrence right here in this while loop. So now and then down here at the very bottom, this just prints out the max value, the max value and the number of times it occurred. So now let's take a deeper dive into this, right? So this is our scanner, just it brings that in. Then system.out.print, and it wants you to end. This is asking the user for a number or a set of numbers, whatever, right? Then the integer user in is equal to input.next int. This is what allows the user to enter the number. Then we go down, int count equals 0. So the reason the count is equal to 0 is because there is nothing right now. There is no count. There's no count of numbers. There's nothing. Right, now we go into the integer max. The reason max is 0 is because, again, there's no values. There's no numbers. So there is no max values. Now we go into the while loop. So this is saying while the user input is or does not equal 0, right? Because 0 is what's going to terminate this. It has the user keep inputting numbers. Then this is what checks. This if statement checks if the user input is greater than the max, right? So if the user input's greater than the max, it sets the max to the user input and count to 0. So whatever the user input is, that first number is automatically going to be greater than the max. And then we're going to loop back to this, and that's going to mean that max is going to be the grade. So whatever the user input is, that number is max, right? And then that sets the count to 0 because that number has occurred only one time and is just there's no, that number has occurred once and it just doesn't keep occurring. But then we go down to this if statement down here. It checks if the user input is equal to max, right? So if my next user input is equal to the max number up here, right, it's going to add 1 to count, right? So initially, once you do enter a number, max is equal to user input, right? So it's automatically going to say user input and max are the same. So count is 1, right? But if it keeps going and you keep putting different numbers, count is going to go higher and higher, telling you the occurrence of that value, right? Then once the user inputs 0, terminates the loop, then prints out the final messages, right? So now let's run this. Let's start this and let's get this going to show you the testing. So let's enter 3, 4, 5, 3, 5, 5, 5, 0, right? Boom. So large number is 5. They occurred 4 times. And yeah, that's going to be it.